when you're learning how to publicly speak and trying to get better at it, it's good to have, or it's important to have, an ability to um, encourage moods and to kind of let the audience get a certain gist of something. So if you were trying to, for example, show how something is a bad idea, something how, or to show how an idea or a certain subject is going to be bad in this situation, then you have to, with your speech, you have to say with the speech that it's this is a bad thing and we gotta do something about it. If you have a persuasive speech, it's certainly helpful with that. Or regular speeches, the more you get an emotional response from the audience, a lot of their focus is going to increase, because you're attracting their attention. You're kind of getting into it, and if you're into the speech, then they're going to start getting into the speech too. So I will talk a little about different types of moods you can try to get the audience into just by the way you're using your speech. Um, so the first one is going to be emphasis. And all these, although all three of these are using their mood to put emphasis on something. This is specifically when you're talking during a speech, you want to put emphasis, and this is like bold face letters. This is something important I want to say. So one of the ways you can do this is kind of get energetic, kind of put a lot of focus on certain words. When you're using emphasis, the important part is to emphasize on certain things, to get people's attention onto a certain point. So for an example, I'm going to talk about this thing here, this little floppy wire thing. I want to talk about this, and to get to put a lot of emphasis on this device here, and we're going to say that this can cure the flu. This device, you're just going to wave it in front of their face, it'll cure the flu. So in your speech, you're going to have to say that. You're going to have to really get emphasis on that. Say, alright, hi there folks. So I'd just like to talk about a new crazy invention just came out. This green flippy thing, this is our high-tech equipment nowadays. This, just wave over their face and the flu will be gone. So with that, like I just saw, one of the best ways to encourage emphasis on certain thing is you can do tone. You can change your tone up and down um, to get like this is the, like that kind of dramatic emphasis on the item or whatever you're talking about, whatever the subject is. If you're talking about on Monday, this is happening. On whatever the subject is, increasing your tone and different facial expressions help with getting focus on certain subjects. And when you're using emphasis, you have to, by yourself, you have to think, this is amazing. And I just have to tell these people about it. I have to say how awesome this is, or whatever it is that you're putting emphasis on. You have to put emphasis on, there's a test on Wednesday. You must put the emphasis on the test that's on Wednesday. So it's one of the things you can do to help put certain emphasis on things. And so next, talk about if something's a little bit more um, somber. If it's not really a high quality topic, if it's something you don't really want to talk about, but it's very important, and you do want the audience to pay attention and still not be bored out of their mind because you're talking with monotone, um, then this is one of the moods you want to try to use when you're using a speech. Um, for example, if you're talking about the children's and orphanages, I think that's what the plural of that word is. If you're talking about them, then you want to talk about how each child doesn't know whether it's going to get food tomorrow. It doesn't know where it's going to be. It doesn't know how healthy it's going to be the next week. With your support, we can help these children get adopted. We can help these children have families, or whatever. Um, And if you have a lot of that, and a lot of the kind of sadness, you don't have to admit sadness when you do it, but you have to say, this is a sad thing. This isn't a laughing matter. This isn't no laughing matter. This is important, and it's not good that this is happening, or um, it's not good that all these all these things are happening. Anyway, when you use somber, when you're using a kind of morbid, not really morbid, but a sober sort of idea, you're gonna have to kind of uh, downcast, kind of think of the little black cloud almost. It's not like actual depression, but um, just kind of seriousness, but also sadness. Those are your adjectives that you need. Um, and so you want to stick to that theory. You want to stick to that gist, genre, or what have you. Um, Sadness, when you're kind of speaking about it, when you're talking with that mood, when you want that mood, you can go quieter. Generally, of course, you want to project your voice usually. But in certain situations where you have a microphone, if you're on stage, if you have a microphone, or in this situation, if you're doing via this internet stuff, computer-wise internet stuff, your newfangled internet stuff. Um, if you have a microphone available and you're using a microphone and it's being picked up, I don't really want to say straight off, be quiet when you speak this way, but you don't want as much emphasis. You want a nice kind of monotone. You can still kind of, you can have a good volume, but you don't want to go too quiet. You don't want to be so nothing can hear you, yet you still don't want to have as much emphasis. It's going to be more monotone. You're going to have a lot of, you're not going to have a lot of movement, I mean, with your hands. You're just going to be, it's going to be just a kind of not really dark, but a sad topic that you're talking about. You don't really want to talk about it. No one wants to talk about it, but it's important. You need to pay attention. The audience needs to pay attention to this. This thing is, and so on. Um, but that's sadness. The next mood that I want to talk about is the dramatic mood, when you want a lot of, not really, or not emphasis, but important topic. You want people to pay attention. It's kind of a mix between sadness and emphasis. One of the things I kind of learned, one of the ways I do dramatic when I try to talk with dramatic things, or even kind of confused-ish. It's kind of confused, kind of dramatic. Though speaker doesn't want to be confused. You don't want to sound confused, but this is how I would talk about dramatic. When you want to talk about, you want to sort of slow in certain parts and then sped up in other parts. You want to put a lot of emphasis on certain words. Important words you want to slow down. But then in other scenarios you're going fast, but also slow. In some situations you're going to have to talk fast and you're going to have a lot of words out there. But then sometimes you just want to be lots, very, very slow. One of the things I've learned about when you're talking dramatic is glancing away and kind of appearing in deep thought. So if you were talking about something, it's, I don't know I don't know where we can go with this. I don't think the ship can take much more damage. If we slow down, the pirates will certainly catch up. But if we speed up, the ship is not going to hold. It's an unfortunate scenario, but the fact is, it's lose. There's no solution to this problem. And that's all I can think of right now. But kind of with the gist of what I'm talking about, you still want eye contact. When you glance down, you're in deep thought. You're thinking about the next thing you're gonna say. As everything's really important. I don't know what to say. Um, Generally, you don't want to do a lot of quick movement, like back and forth. You can kind of glance down and just kind of glance away and think about what you're going to say next. Put a lot of emphasis on what you're saying and not what you're looking down at. So if you talk, make sure you're always looking at the audience. But when you're not, don't turn your head all the way around like I just did. Ignore that. Um, you have to make sure you keep eye contact when you're talking. Um, and this isn't really like public speaking. This is more like, this is kind of more, I'm not sure exactly what to call it, but it's just drama talking. I'm not sure how much public speaking has to do with it, but regardless, that's what I would call dramatic speaking. Just to wrap it up, basics. You want to have emphasis on important parts of your speech, and a good way to do that is to change your mood, um, or get really excited about something important. Um, you should really be excited about your speech throughout, but certain things you can put a lot of emphasis on, and it helps. It helps with them remembering it. Like, oh, look at him, he was dancing around when he said that. Don't actually dance around. You don't have to stand still either. I mean, um, arm movements are important to visualize things. Like I was talking about, it's so compact now. You want to compact things, not it's so compact now. It is insanely compact. This is more like everything, everywhere, so big is what that motion is. We're spreading our systems everywhere, not compact. Regardless, when you're talking about moods, you have to make sure that they fit. Can't be talking sad. You can't be sad about when you're talking about lollipops. It's just so sad, the lollipops. The lollipops are running out. That's sad. And you can't be talking about the lack of lollipops and like going crazy. Man, it's awesome. It's so awesome that there's no more lollipops. No, you can't do that. Unless you don't like lollipops. Then you can be excited. But only then. Alright, so that's it. Goodbye. Have a nice day. And